In the world of iconic Australian video stores, Movieland stands as a legend, a name synonymous with the golden age of home video rental. Founded in 1982 by Tony Romano, Movieland quickly became a household name, with over 135 stores spanning the length and breadth of Australia. It all began in a small corner of Bay Street, Brighton, Victoria, where Tony's vision for a one-stop movie haven took root. Under his leadership, Movieland flourished, offering a vast collection of films, unmatched customer service, and a genuine passion for cinema. For 2 decades, Movieland reigned supreme as Australia's favorite video store, a nostalgic destination for movie lovers and an essential part of the country's pop culture. But by 2002, after 20 years of success, Movieland closed its doors, and the brand was absorbed by Video Easy, with many locations ultimately converting to blockbuster stores. In this exclusive interview, we sit down with Tony Romano, the visionary behind Movieland, for a candid conversation about his remarkable journey, building an empire of movie magic. From the thrilling highs of watching his dream grow into a national sensation to the challenging lows of navigating the digital age's rise and the eventual decline of the VHS era, Tony opens up about the untold stories of Movieland's rise and fall. Join us as we take a trip down memory lane and explore the legacy of one of Australia's most beloved video rental chains through the eyes of the man who made it all possible. This is the story of Movieland, told by the one who lived it.
Joining us live in the Movieland Spotlight this month, we have Tony Romano, the creator of Australia's video store franchise we all know and love, Movieland. Thank you so much for joining us, buddy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really, really well. So nice to be here to chat.
Absolutely. So excited to have you here. And I have a lot of questions I've been wanting to ask you. Well, for everybody tuned in to address the confusion, Movieland, as you know it now, was a lot different to what it used to be. Like I rebooted the company in 2023 as a media press and retail store. But before that, Movieland was a franchise video store company founded in 1982 by Tony here. And it was only based in Australia, but had a massive wave with 134 stores Australia-wide. We didn't have Blockbuster yet. In fact, they didn't surface until 1985, and that was in the United States. The origins of video stores is a bit of a mystery, but Wiki says it began in Germany around 1975. Video stores became a powerhouse in the 80s and 90s, but their downfall began in the early 2000s. While every video store fan has their own they love and have stories about, Movieland was my first video store I ever went to. I grew up across the street from a massive store. It was beautiful. It became very sentimental to me, and I miss it every day. But I'd like to say thank you, Tony, for creating what was a highlight of my upbringing. Cherished childhood memories was going to Movieland with my friends and family, sharing movie nights together. There's never been another place like that, so I can't thank you enough.
A pleasure. Absolute pleasure. It was amazing. Thank you.
I'd just like to know a little bit about how you got started in the video store business and how you created Movieland, essentially.
Okay, well, it was an interesting journey. My foray into the video industry actually started, goodness me, probably about the late 70s. What happened was that I was actually working for as a sales rep for a record company, and after a few years, I was about to leave, and my boss actually said, "No, Tony, we want you to stick around because we're starting up this new business, and we're looking for a state manager, and we think you could do the job." And I said, "What's the business?" He said, "Videos." I said, "Video? What are they?" And he said, "Oh, well, you get this little black thing, and you put it in a machine, and you watch movies on your TV." I thought, "You've got to be kidding. Really? That sounds exciting." So that was my first foray into the video industry. So I got the job, and basically we started selling videos to video stores. And way back then, I'll never forget the first day I started, I had a look at how many video stores we had in Melbourne at the time, and there were 2, and that was it. So the journey for me began, and I guess I saw the growth and development of the video industry, all those very, very early video stores, and and saw how they started to build and grow. And so after a few years, I had a good friend of mine who ended up being my partner together in the Movieland, Paul Spano, and was chatting to him about it one night, and we thought, hey, this is an interesting idea. Let's get involved in this business. So we actually there and then we decided to go and start up our very first Movieland store, and it was only meant to be a business just for our wives at the time, and so yeah, we like I said, I guess it was probably about 2 years after I'd left the video distribution company that we started Movieland, and that was our very, very first store in Bay Street, Brighton.
Yeah, that first store in Bay Street, Brighton, I did a bit of digging through Google to try and find it. If I'm correct, was it 261 Bay Street? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, that actually does. Yep, 261 Bay
Found it.
Street. Yep.
I found it. Tell me a little bit about the store. Like, what was it like? Did you work in there, or would you say it was only your wife that was working in there?
I don't know. Well, no, I wasn't working in there. So basically, it was our wives that were working in there.
Yeah.
But when we set it up, it was basically in those days, it was not only the videos, but we also the hardware. So we decided to put some hardware in, and TVs, VCRs, all of that, and we're renting the videos at the same time. And that's how the whole thing started. As it happened, though, probably about 8 months later, we got a call from our security company to say to go to the shop because somebody had crashed the car through our front window. So get there, and all of the hardware is gone.
Oh no.
Yep. So we thought, okay, well, fair enough. I mean, video machines were pretty hot property in those days. So we, reset it all up again. And as it happened, probably 2 months later, exactly the same thing happened again.
Oh no.
Yep. So as it happened this time around, we thought, well, maybe we'll steer clear of the hardware and just stick to the software. And so with that, we opened our second store in Mooney Ponds, and yeah, so that's how our second store eventuated.
Right. Just wanted it back for a quick personal question. You said like you weren't really familiar with videotapes. Were you a movie fan at all, or was that just kind of just a business side of things for you?
Well, no, I did very much enjoy movies. I used
Yep.
to go to the cinemas a lot, and no, I wouldn't say I was a movie fanatic, but I very, very much enjoyed the movies. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's just a personal question. That's great. Yeah. If the address was correct, like you said, 261, I believe at the moment it's being served as a bottle shop called Pub Spy now. If the little 2 cents, if you knew that.
And well, no, I didn't know that. There you go. So interesting. Well, yeah, because later on, then we actually relocated to another site in Bay Street, Brighton, which now is a Chemist Warehouse. So there you go.
Right. Yeah. And I had a look at Bay Street. It's just quite long. Like, so I thought I'm never gonna find this, but somehow I found a 261 Bay Street in a Yelp review for Movieland. So like, curious if that was the first one or the second one? Do you think you're not 100% sure?
I think it might have been the second one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, trying to decipher the origins of video stores in Australia, Movieland was 1982. Video Easy wasn't until the following year, 83. But as you said, there's only as many as 2 video stores before you started. Do you actually recall what their names were, or were they just family-owned video stores?
Oh, no. I think Brash's was one. They were a lot of musical instruments, a whole range of things, but they decided that they were going to sell video movies as well. So they were actually selling them at the time.
Okay.
That was one, and the other one I remember was called Pell TV and Video. They were selling all the hardware, and I think the third one would have been a mob called Riley Bishop. So they were the 3 that come to mind.
Right, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, just selling tapes back then. From my memory in the 90s, like buying a videotape was still really expensive, probably $30-$40 range. So I can't imagine a lot of people buying them back then if they did. So did Movieland start as retail?
No. We when we started, it was because I recall in the video business when it first started, renting movies was via memberships. So no one was doing overnight hire. It was all membership. You paid your $120, $150 a year, and then you had access to their library. And that's how most of the video stores were trading at the time. It was only, I think, and I remember their name. They were called Cyclops Video, and they were the first ones to introduce overnight hire. And the success of that was phenomenal. And so all of a sudden, all the other video stores decided that that was the way to go. So they changed from memberships to overnight hire.
Wow, that's news to me. I always thought it was always purely paid rental per hire, so that's news to me. That's great.
Yeah, no. It was, it was memberships. And, but, unfortunately, with memberships, what happened was that, that obviously there was no pressure on the store owners to buy a lot of multiple copies of the movies because, they already had the client's money. So they just bought whatever they felt that they needed to get by, and that was it. So, but once the overnight hire started, then the pressure was on to buy a lot of multiple copies of the new releases, and hence they were an enormous success.
Right, yeah. Well, I was born in '86, so it was a couple of years of progression there for me to get to a video store to understand changes. But yeah, this is news to me. That's great. What the aim to franchise directly after starting like the first and second store, or did the success of those expand it?
Okay, so the franchising thing. This is basically how it happened. We had, as I say, the second store, and then that was going well. We decided to open up a third store in Preston, and this was a store that we. Well, I guess I put a fair bit of time in the layout, the quality, the design of the store. It was pretty special, to the point where a lot of the movie studios, when they had their CEOs come over from America, they take them to our store in Preston to show them what the video store of the future could potentially look like. So it was fairly impressive. But then what happened? We got to a point where we opened a third and a fourth store, and at that time, I was talking to one of the distributors and said, "Look, wouldn't it be fun to advertise your movies on TV, and we will join forces, and I'll promote Movieland. We promote your movie and see how we go." And they were very, very excited to do that. So we started our TV campaign, way back then. And so next thing you know, we got Movieland commercial. We were the only one promoting video on TV. And I guess through that, we all of a sudden started to get phone calls to say, what can we do to join Movieland? And so all of a sudden, we started to look at franchising. And after having a chat to franchise developments, I think it was at the time that we used, we decided to embark on the franchising journey. And 135 stores later, here we go.
That's something definitely to be proud of. So congratulations on that one. You definitely made a mark on Australia for sure. Was there any plans to ever take it internationally, or did you solely want it to base it in Australia?
No, we pretty much just just looked at Australia. To be honest, I don't. Yeah, there was never really any sense of looking internationally at all. No.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, big question. How did you come up with the name or and the logo?
Well, the name actually it happened, that night that we were together with with my partner Paul and his wife Rose and my wife at the time, and we, basically, actually it was the girls that came up with the name. To be honest, so there you go. They get the credit for that.
Was there any other names on the table for consideration that you remember, or was Movieland the main focus there?
No, I think we toyed with a few others. Movie House. I wanted to stick with the word movie, and it was interesting that later on, as as we saw the decline of videos move, or not the decline, but the transition from video into DVD. The word video in video stores seemed to be redundant. So the word movies kind of had more longevity, and so yeah. So anyway, well, yeah. I think Movie House was one that we considered at the time. Movie Shack was one we considered, but yep, ended up with Movieland.
That's great. Who designed the logo? Do you recall?
Oh, well, that was we actually had there was another logo earlier on, but then
Yeah.
we had a guy who I then brought on board as heading up our marketing, guy by the name of Sean Ashby, and Sean was the one who I credit coming up with the Movieland logo and the Movieland mascot. And Sean has actually gone on to become he's the CEO now of a big Australian company called Aussie Bum, and done an amazing job. So yeah, Sean Ashby's the one that's credited with the Movieland logo.
That's amazing. That was my next question. Who created the mascot and what the story behind him?
Well, yeah, it was just Sean's idea. He was a very creative guy, and he basically said, "Tony, I think we should have a little mascot, because we want to do something appealing to the kids and so on and so forth." And yeah, one day the mascot appeared, and obviously we used him as often as we could, and made up little mascot dolls and mascot cups, and yeah, which. I suspect you've seen most of them.
I've not seen the dolls. That's quite interesting. I'd like to see if there's any evidence of their existence. So that's one thing that really drives me nuts about Movieland is it's like it's been erased from its existence. Like I guess it's so hard to come across anything from it because it's from so long ago now. So it's like an ancient piece of gold. One of my first missions when bringing Movieland back to life was not only getting the logo back, but bringing Max back to life because that one image of Max I could find online was so small on our screens, stretched him up, pixelated. So yeah, bringing Max to life was I definitely think an important mission to do to bring Movieland back. Okay, so any highlights working with Movieland, like interactions with celebrities or major milestones that truly you're proud of?
Interacting with celebrities, yeah. Look, we were really lucky that we had the video industry as such. Well, the international video industry used to have an annual conference every year in Las Vegas. And so I was lucky enough to go there on about 4 or 5 occasions. And a lot of the Hollywood studios, the studios here in Australia, would organize with the American counterparts to, have a special cocktail or special events for the Australian contingent that went over there. So there was, maybe a dozen or 2 dozen of us that went over. And so as part of that, they would, bring in some celebrities for us to have a chat with. So I was lucky enough to meet Steven Seagal, Tarzan, Mr. Miyagi.
Oh, really?
Meet him as well. They had these amazing events over there in Vegas with the video industry, with the launch. I remember being there with the launch of The Lion King when Disney put on this show for about 5,000 odd people, and they actually brought a live lion on stage. And that was a bit scary for everyone because I think the lion lost control after a little while. So, but anyway, all ended well. So no issue there. But yeah, it was an amazing time. When you sort of think about how big this video industry was, based on the amount of money that the studios were spending to host these events over there.
Absolutely. So what about any milestones the Movieland took that you were proud of?
Well, look, I suppose the proudest thing for me would have been, every year the amount of awards that we won. We had a marketing, store of the year. They used to have the award night for stores of the year, and the marketing of the year, and we were lucky enough to win a number of those.
When you say Movieland to someone, most people who know of it will start singing the theme song. Like, please tell me the story behind the song, who wrote it, performed it, produced it, whose idea it was. It's just one thing other video stores didn't have. I believe Video Easy had one, but it didn't measure it up.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. Being from a musical background myself, I was keen to come up with a jingle when we decide to go on TV and then obviously on radio. And so as far as writing it, basically I myself and, with a little bit of help from my partner, Paul Spano, we basically wrote the lyrics of the jingle. Then we decided, oh, we need somebody to actually produce it. So, there was a guy that we got a hold of who produced a number of different singles, and a guy by the name of Ross Ingalls. And so he basically got it, and he said, "Yep, okay, Tony, I can do this." So he basically came up with a rough sample of it, I guess, and I absolutely loved it at the time. And he said, "All right, well, we will go and record the final product." He said, "Now, as far as singing it," he said, "I've got this singer that she used to be on Young Talent Time, and we've used her a little bit, and I think she'll be really good. Her name's Tina Arena." And I said, "Absolutely fine, no problem." So she was, no one really knew of Tina Arena at the time. And so we were very, very lucky and blessed to have her to actually be singing the Movieland jingle.
Wow. That debunks something someone said to me. I always thought it was Kylie Minogue singing the song, so that's wrong.
No, not Kylie Minogue, Tina.
Arena. Wow. Okay, that's some fact. Yeah, I knew it was some sort of celebrity, but this whole time I thought it was Kylie Minogue. So that clears my mind. Congratulations on that song, because it's definitely a hit. So many people sing that song to me all the time. Now that we're back, so yeah, and it's amazing to hear it again.
I guess it was lucky that we got one that the audience but found themselves singing along to. And you're right, even today, people, when you mention Movieland, that they start singing the song. So so yeah, we're very, very, very happy that we got that one, and it saw us through to the end very, very well.
I need you to tell me a little bit about the kids' castle. First of all, was this at every store, or was it only based on my location?
Well, no, we tried to get it into as many stores as possible, space allowing. So if the space was there, then we absolutely wanted to introduce the kids' castle, because obviously, it gave the kids somewhere to play, and it was very, very popular at the time. So it was basically where space allowed, we absolutely put the kids' castle in.
Well, I was probably, I don't know, I got to guess my age, between 6 and 8 years old when I first was brought into Movieland, and to see that kids' castle like that blew my mind. For anyone who's unfamiliar with it, the kids' castle was basically a castle outside built onto a wall. This is described on one of my location, and it had a dark entrance, but as you walked in, it was filled with beanbag chairs and a massive TV in a dark room like a cinema. Like you'd have to take a videotape from the store, like pick a videotape and give it to the Movieland clerk and ask them to play the movie for you. But I remember, like I said, maybe 8 or something. I think the tape I always took in there was Gumby. I don't know if you remember that kid. Yeah, Gumby. Took that in there, and I was always watching Gumby in the kids' castle, and that was why my mom was looking for videotape. Definitely the playground aspect of putting your kids somewhere where you look for movies is a great idea, and I think about it a lot. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we had a specific focus to try and do a bit of marketing to the kids, because we figured, if we can get the kids to say, "Look, we want to go to Movieland to get a movie," well, that might have a bit of influence of dragging the parents down there as well. So yeah, that worked well, and in fact, one of the other things that we used to do whenever we opened a new store, our major attraction on opening day was an appearance by Humphrey B. Bear.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Are you familiar with Humphrey B. Bear?
Of course I am. Yes.
Good. Well, yeah, I mean, and that was, as I say, specifically designed to get a lot of the kids along, and obviously, dragging the parents along with them, and that was we had an amazing time at the openings, with Humphrey there, and it was very, very successful.
Do you recall much about the Movieland at Hollywood Plaza in South Australia?
Look, not an awful lot, to be honest. But I'm certainly recall being there when it opened up, and yeah, it's a great store. It was a great store.
Yeah, it was my local store based in an old drive-in theater. The drive-in screen was opposite the store. Was obviously not functioning, but they eventually changed it to a giant rainbow sign. Sadly, the screen is not there anymore. They knocked it down about a couple of years ago, which is a secret I had. But the entire mall was themed towards movies, being Hollywood Plaza. I think it had a lot to do with my inspiration growing up with so much movie-themed things around me there. Yeah, the building still stands today, and it annoys me because it's being used as a warehouse at the moment. The front of the building still reminds me of Movieland, though. Like the floor, the windows are all the same, but they're just blacked out. I can probably recall every section of that store, but I'd love to just refresh my memory properly and see some photos of how that store was. But sadly, yeah, never got to see another Movieland store in my life. I only got that one in my memory.
Oh, because we obviously had a number of them there in South Australia at the time. Yeah, so it's interesting that you never got to see any of the others, only that one.
I really was a homeboy, I would call it. I didn't go out of my area much until I was like probably 18 plus. So I liked staying home.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I do recall like obviously Movieland changed to Blockbuster at a point. But other video stores I've seen around was Civic Video and Video Easy around my area. But
Yep.
yeah, I was pretty determined to work at Movieland, that store, and the employees all knew I was really enthusiastic and determined to do that. But yeah, it sadly closed a year before I was old enough to work there. So yeah, my dreams got crushed. But I eventually ended up working at the Blockbuster store that replaced it though. So that was got my video store kick.
Ah, good, 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 good. Oh, well, it's just awesome to see somebody as passionate, about not only the movie business, but, about Movieland. So I take my hat off to you. I think what you've done is just absolutely amazing. And I support everything that you've done, and everything that you will potentially do in the future.
It means all the more to me that I have your blessing with it. So I tip my hat back to you, sir, for creating it. It's your baby, and I'll take care of it.
I'm sure you will. I feel it's in very good hands.
What were some of your favorite memories working with Movieland?
Look, the 20 years with Movieland, I got to say, were probably, the best 20 years that I've spent, of my life. To be there at the beginning of an industry and, see it build and grow from basically nothing, opening our first store, and then, just seeing it grow in Victoria, and then having people in South Australia come to us and say, we want to join Movieland. We want to be part of it. The guys in Perth came over. We want to join Movieland. We want to be part of it. And just to be involved in an industry and a business that, had that phenomenal growth, was probably, the highlight, I guess, of my life. Now, sure, we, like any business, they had their ups and downs, and, get to the late 80s, and when interest rates are up at 18%, and you had some tough times through that, but we managed to get through, and it was yeah, as I say, just one of the most amazing rides I've ever had. So to the point then, when towards the end, then when we had both Blockbuster and Video Easy were keen to come and buy us. I was just absolutely not interested at all. I was just having way, way, way too much fun. But luckily, in hindsight, somebody gave us some good advice to say, well, perhaps this is an industry that's not going to last forever, which was my hope that it would, but sadly it didn't. And so we got out at the right time. So I was very, very lucky about that.
Yeah, I think you did because video stores held on as long as possible. With Blockbuster and Video Easy being the last that I can recall being around.
Yep.
Like, you basically just told me about the final days led to the bittersweet end of Movieland, but so really, it was just by choice letting it go. You didn't feel forced to leave the store.
No, 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 no. It was purely by choice. So like I say, we had I spent a fair bit of time considering whether to sell or not.
Yep.
But no, it was in the end. It was absolutely by choice.
Right. The last store on record I found online was in Sandringham. Is that correct? And that was early 2002.
It is correct. Yeah, yeah. When that was a store that's actually owned by my partner Paul Spano, and he basically just kept it running, and it was fine. It still was producing a profit. Be it a small one, but I think there was a bit of nostalgia there involved there too. So yeah, the Sandringham one was the last one, and then Video Easy came along, and basically then we converted pretty much all the other stores that we had.
Right.
So, I stayed on and worked with them for a couple of years to see through the conversion process, and it was all good.
Speaking of conversion, because I worked for Blockbuster as they changed the Movieland. Basically, it was already changed, like the signs were all up and everything. But I also dealt with a conversion of VHS to DVD. So I was the one picking up all the videotape down and putting the DVDs up. It took so long.
Well, obviously that was a phase that we all went through. Even if I go back, early days, I had beta and VHS, and had phased out beta, and then VHS comes in, and then phase out VHS, DVD comes in, and video games became a big part of our business as well at the time. So yeah, there were a few changes along the way.
As I said, like things from Movieland seem to be erased from existence, like even photos, for example. But merchandise, so to say, like anything Movieland related on eBay is very, very rare to come by. But the one thing that does come by quite often, or not often, but one thing that does come by is the Movieland collector cups. So could you tell me a little bit about the idea to design those? Do you remember anything about that?
I think what prompted us to do that is that when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out, we decided to come up with a marketing program where we produced these water bottles with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on there. So you come in, rent a movie, you get a bottle. It was a success beyond our wildest dreams, and so following from that, I think it was Sean's idea to say, look, let's do some collectible cups. So, every time you come in, you collect a cup, rent a movie, whatever. So, I guess that was that was the inspiration behind, creating the cups. And yes, they did turn out to be a huge success for us.
Yeah, and anyone that's really trying to find anything Movieland to hold on to as a memorabilia tends to talk about those cups. They are pretty hard to come by, but I've got a fair few. This is one of my favorites with the mascot on there,
There you go. Yep.
Movieland on the back.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is actually one that I had when I was a kid, the backdraft one with Kurt Russell. I love that one a lot.
Okay. Yep.
How do you feel your life after the Russia Movieland was over?
Well, look, I guess, whilst I was in that transition stage, I obviously started thinking about, what else can I do? What else can I do after this? And as it happened, I was in the city one day, looking for a cup of coffee, and I went into, I think it was a Starbucks store, and had a cup of coffee, and I thought, now this is not coffee. So it was at that point I decided to open up a chain of coffee shops. Well, actually, I opened up the first one and then developed into a chain of 15 coffee shops. So that's how I filled my time after Movieland.
I love coffee. Is it still going?
No. Luckily, we managed to get out of it after before COVID hit. So there is still one trading in Victoria at the moment. Romano's Coffee out at Knox City. But that's the only one.
Right, yeah, interesting. I've also noticed that obviously you said you had a hand in writing the Movieland theme song, but you work in music a fair bit as well.
Yeah, well, I've been a musician ever since, I was 20 years old or so, and it's just been part of my life all the way through. So very, very much enjoyed it, even up to this day. Still enjoying my music, and I think it's part of what keeps me a little bit young these days. So I'm happy with that.
What was your reaction and review of the new reboot of Movieland?
When I actually saw what you did, I was amazingly impressed. It actually pulled at some heartstrings in a funny way because, to see Movieland, I guess, reignited and continue on, was something I was very, very happy with. So, and happy to help along the way if ever you need anything more from me. Again, take my hat off to you. Well done.
It's completely surreal for me. So yeah, it's still, I'm like pinching myself. Is this real? So yeah, this is amazing. So thank you. I just want you and every Movieland fan to know, like, I'm doing this out of love, like to keep the memory of Movieland alive and kicking in any way I can. Like, while I haven't bought back video stores physically, to me, the sky's the limit with this. I've started small with a digital return, a website, a magazine, and a podcast, but to my surprise, it's easily getting bigger every day on its own. And I'm all the more happy to keep building to get it to bigger things. But overall, I just love promoting movies, talking about them, watching them, of course. But this isn't a job to me; it's a passion, and I really missed Movieland overall. Like, seeing the banner every day makes me happy, and I'll just do my best to deliver the best I can, doing what Movieland did best, and that's provide family entertainment.
Yeah. Well, if what you've done so far is any indication, then I just can't wait to see what the future holds for you. So I'm very, very excited and thrilled. I've got to be honest, Sean.
Before I let you go, Tony, here at Movieland, we love recommending movies. So please give us at least 6 movies you'd like us to watch, old or new.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Lately, some of the new movies, I got to say, don't stack up compared to the ones that were around in my time. But, all the ones I probably will mention to you, ones that, there'll be no surprise if I mention Shawshank Redemption the first time I saw that. Speed the first time. I'm a bit of an action
That's cool.
lover myself, so stuff like Die Hard and Speed, and obviously The Godfather, near and dear to me. So enjoyed those series. I'll never forget the release of Raiders of the Lost Ark. That was actually one of the very first videos that went straight to sale, as opposed to rent. The most watched movie, the most rented in multiple times, would have to have been Pretty Woman. So,
well, that was going to be another bonus question there. What was the hottest rentals back in the 80s when you first started Movieland?
Tell you what, the ones that caught everyone by surprise were movies like The Blues Brothers. No one had ever heard of that before, but all of a sudden, obviously the success it had on video was amazing. But stuff like Grease, Saturday Night Fever, Jaws, Rambo, that was massively huge. So they're the ones that come to mind in the early days. Yeah.
It's been great chatting with you, Tony. Again, thank you so much for all you've done and being supportive as well. Having your blessing makes this all the more legit, and feel proud of what I'm doing. So yeah, thank you, and we all love you and what you've done. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. And, like I say, I wish you all the very, very best in all your future endeavors with Movieland.
Download the digital Movieland magazine for free at movieland.au. Grab your popcorn and follow us, because we bring you a one-stop shop for news on new releases at the cinema, 4K, Blu-ray, digital rentals, and all of the streaming services combined. Catch all of this and more at our website, movieland.au. Don't forget to follow us on social media for daily news, movie recommendations, and spoiler-free reviews.